Hi everyone! Today we will have a lecture, The Effect of Physical Exercises on Health. This topic is introductory because students of the first year of study open the theory subject of physical education. But due to some administration difficulties and other things, I suppose, you, as a students of the second study year, will be familiar with the main summary, main highlights of this topic during this week. Actually, you will have 4 lectures, including this one, and each topic connected to the previous and the next one. So I strongly recommend you not to miss any one of them because your comprehensive understanding and vision of the subject of physical education depends on it. So let's start with this topic: physical exercises and health, how they are intercorrelated. I believe you already know how physical activity influence our physical state, our state of mind, our attitude and mood, our conditioning, our performance, not only physical performance, but very often academic and intellectual performance as well. And for you, by the way, as a student, it's quite important actually to get the beneficial academic performance by applying physical exercises in your everyday routine. Of course, being physically active and try to maximize the benefits of being physically active requires a lot of knowledge, experience, of course, we need it, ability to organize our time, and ability to deal with time management, because having hard day at the university to study subjects and spend a lot of time there, we need this ability to try to figure out and find the time, 1 hour or 2 hours during the day to go to the gym, sport gym, to play volleyball and so on. During this topic and this lecture, we will just slightly briefly go through the main outcomes. We will be familiar more in detail with some organism systems that are responsible for actually energy providing and systems and the organism regulations that allow us to stay healthy and feel good actually. Physical exercise is important for maintaining physical fitness and can contribute to maintaining health, physiological well-being, strengthening the immune system. Also, it's important in regulating digestive health, weight and bone density, muscle strength, flexibility and joint mobility, aerobic and anaerobic endurance, and agility. Also, physical exercising contributes a lot in increasing life expectancy and the quality of life, and also it preventing aging. So let's go through each of these outcomes and give some brief presentation of their examples correspondingly. So, physiological well-being and immune system. Of course, these 2 parameters of physical state are correlated positively and very strongly, and by exercising we actually boost our metabolic processes and the immune system that's responsible for maintaining our organism healthy get this enhancement too. That's why it's so important to be involved in physical activities on a regular basis. It doesn't mean that every week we have a training session. That means that during the week we have from 2 to 3 or even more often training sessions. It doesn't mean with high intensity, but even moderate intensity. Each training set is high enough to be a stimuli, to trigger immune system, to trigger metabolic reactions, and to stay healthy, because with good metabolism and high level of recovery processes, we can manage a lot of stress, a lot of hard situations, and recover faster from fatigue, and demonstrate high level of performance, not only physical performance but also intellectual performance as well. People usually who are physically active are sick much more rare. So it's a good point, because for you as a students, it's very important to attend the university and classes and try not to miss anyone, because this is a critical situation. When we miss classes, we miss lectures, because this is the tool that we get knowledge, get experience, and sometimes wisdom. And missing this very valuable activities, classes, lectures, practice, we miss a lot of this kind of education. Next outcome is digestive health. Of course, being physically active positively reflects on the digestive health as well. Weight and bone density. We can regulate our weight, sometimes measured by BMI, body mass index, by being physically active systematically. And it depends actually what kind of exercise we are choosing, because if we go to the gym and are involved in weightlifting, strength training, bodybuilding, powerlifting, and so on, sometimes the weight itself could be actually the same, but the body composition, fat tissue, muscle tissue, will be a little bit different over time during these training sessions. But for people who have a high level of body mass index, for them, I suppose, going to gym and have a load lifting training could be not the proper way to optimize their weight. Probably it's better way for them to go to the swimming pool, to be involved in jogging, running, bicycling, and ski running, and so on, because they need influence on other abilities, our conditions of our motor system, movement system. Bone density. It is especially important for people, older people, because over the years the bone density could be reduced, mineralization processes could be limited, restricted, and sometimes with losing some minerals in our bone tissues, we are more susceptible for bone fractures, especially in the winter time. Because here, for example, in Arhangis, we can in the winter time we have sometimes icy ways and roads, and it's quite slippery, and falling down suddenly it's not so surprising situation. And if the bone density is poor condition, it could lead to bone fractures. This is very important, very critical. And by exercising, we can actually influence on bone density and increase mineralization processes. Muscle strength, flexibility, or joint mobility. And of course, muscle strength will be increased or maintained at the same level if we have a training, if we are exercising. But the methods and training design actually means a lot. Will muscle strength increased, or will it be at the same level as before? That means we make a goal setting, we have a purpose, and according to this purpose we collect methods and collect exercises and follow this scheme to achieve a particular goal. If our goal is bodybuilding, so we go to gym, we know what to do, we increase our muscle strength. If our purpose is to increase our endurance, have a good stamina, we go to the swimming pool and we instruct with the coach, have instructions with the coach, for example, or instructor, and we perform and we swim. Flexibility, joint mobility. Flexibility, it's a very important quality and ability of our body, because good flexibility allow us to follow a proper technique, demonstrate good technique, and flexibility also allow us to perform some stretching exercises in the best way. And this the exercising, stretching actually sometimes allow us to recover faster, because stretching allow us to relax faster, and during this relaxation time we can recover. And this recovery sometimes is very critical. If we have a very for example hard week, every day we have a lot of workload, we study a lot, we move a lot, we have a training, and applying stretching exercises, developing and improving our flexibility, we can actually relax faster and recover faster. Also, stretching increases blood circulation in some muscle groups, and it also influence organism oxygenation, oxygen utilization by the tissues and cells, and it allowed to regenerate some tissues faster. Aerobic and anaerobic endurance. These two types of endurance are important for overall working capacity. And also aerobic endurance could actually allow us to recover faster between exercises. Also, aerobic endurance allows us to recover faster during one training session between training sets. So our training session could last not 1 hour but 90 minutes, because our aerobic endurance is high enough. And also it's important for academic performance too, because if we have good stamina, so we can we are able to produce more energy and provide our central neural system with enough substances to perform into some very critical intellectual operations, tasks. So we can concentrate, we can solve various tasks and demonstrate good and best marks on different subjects. Agility. Agility is also an outcome of the physical exercising, and agility reflects actually the state of central neural system, and coordination capacities. And this is very important, because agility actually is the ability to perform an adequate sequence of exercises during a very strict limited period of time. And this also should be characterized by novelty. So it's very difficult movement task that we have to perform, and how we will manage it. This is the demonstration of our agility and demonstration of our coordination capacities. It's one of the most important abilities of our organism. Not surprisingly, actually, children age 7 to 11 years old are much more have a highest potential for development of agility. And after this period, when they are much more older, for example 20 years old or 30 years old, development of agility is significantly slowed down. This is why it's so important during this school age develop agility. Life expectancy. If we are physically active and we follow healthy lifestyle, reasonably we expect to live longer, because our organism works much more efficiently. Our cardiovascular system works much more efficient. Our heart is trained, and we can manage a lot of different stressful situations in our life, not only psychologically stressful but also physically stressful too. Also, by staying physically active, we can increase and trigger metabolic processes in our body, and this metabolic process allow us to evacuate some toxic substances and pathogens that constantly trying to interfere in our organism functioning. And it is especially important in the places where ecology is not so good. Quality of life. If we having physical exercises, if we go to the gym, or we are playing in the volleyball team, we try to generate some metabolic substances in our body that allow us to feel better, feel good. And also we very often, almost always, we feel fun. We have fun when we play the game. For example, volleyball game. It's a pleasant activity. We can communicate with our teammates. We can discuss some funny, entertaining game situations. So being physically active and being physically exercising is quite a good, one of the best option to increase the quality of life itself. Preventing aging. I believe you know that there are two types of age: biological age, and the age when you know when you were born. So probably you are 20 or 25 years old, but your biological age could be 20, probably, and so on. It could be different situations, but actually the more physically active we are, and if we follow some life rhythm, we know what to do to stay healthy, and how to move properly, what physical level of what's the level of physical activity that should be maintained, what kind of nutrition should we have every day. We know how to manage our time, how to how long should we sleep, in what time should we wake up, and so on. So all these factors, tiny factors sometimes, influence a lot in the aging processes. Encouraging a healthy lifestyle characterized by regular physical activity in children is a worldwide priority for future health to overcome the challenges posed by sedentary lifestyle. This is the citation of the World Health Organization. Physical education develops the skills, knowledge, values, and attitudes needed for establishing and enjoying an active and healthy lifestyle, as well as building student confidence and competence in facing challenges as individuals and in groups or teams through a wide range of learning activities. Healthy lifestyle connected to regular physical activity. It's a fact, and when we miss this important principle of regularity of physical exercises, we actually cannot stay in a healthy lifestyle continuum anymore. That's why it's so important to see it as a bigger picture, as a system, and apply systematical approach with regularity of physical activity. And for you as a young man, this is especially important because your organism actually develops its potential, opens up its potential, and in order to maximize this effect, you need physical activity as a part of a healthy lifestyle. Physical exercises included in the vast subject called physical education, and this process organized in order to develop skills, knowledge, values, and attitudes, and all this can lead to increasing quality of life, enjoying of staying healthy, and being active, to have pleasant situations when you communicate and are social in a team, when you play, for example, volleyball. And also self confidence depends a lot on how competent we are physically, and uh, how can we manage different situations in our physical world. Actually, physical education does not stop when we uh, graduated from the school. Actually, this process is it lasts for years. Even when you will graduate from the graduate university, you will still be in the process of physical education. It depends a lot on our goal settings. If we are open-minded and try our best to get to know new knowledge about physical activity and exercises, how to stay healthy by physical exercises, if we focus on our skills development, for example, development of our coordination capacities, development of our sport exercises skills, so we can be constantly under the process of physical education. And now let's consider the influence of physical exercises on the organism systems, and let's start with cardiovascular system, because this system together with respiratory system allow us to consume oxygen and produce energy, and we need this energy when we are physically active or we are under any kind of workload. It could be physical workload or mental, intellectual, psychological workload. We need energy to manage this situation, to get the result. And the more we are trained, the more our cardiovascular system developed, the more efficiently we can manage with different situations. There is a direct correlation between physical inactivity and cardiovascular mortality. And physical inactivity is an independent risk factor for the development of coronary artery disease. So, being inactive physically can actually significantly decrease our physical state. That means that we have a poor stamina, we are more susceptible for cardiovascular diseases, and when we are older, it could be some problems actually. And it's good. It's a point. This is the point to start or just to maintain our lifestyle, healthy lifestyle with physical activity, with regular exercising as young as possible. It will safeguard us. It will provide us with a good health, and will keep some very critical health issues away. It is scientifically evident that children who participate in physical exercise experience greater loss of body fat and increased cardiovascular fitness. Again, youth, young people, children, they possess much more potential for development of cardiovascular system, making it work much more efficiently and form their cardiovascular system and heart itself and vessels more healthier, and it will bring more profit in the years that come. Most beneficial effects of physical activity on cardiovascular disease mortality can be attained through moderate intensity activity. Moderate activity, it's about 40 to 60% of maximal oxygen uptake, and it depends, of course, on age. Of course, this is the scientifically based observation that, namely, moderate intensity activity is the universal level of workload that allow us to be in the range between extremely high workload that actually could bring a damage to our organism and cardiovascular system. Our heart could be damaged if we increase intensity too high, and on the other hand, it's not too low, and such activity could actually bring no effect for us. But between 40 to 60% of maximal oxygen uptake, it's the best option to choose, and this is the moderate intensity activity. This is the most beneficial. And for you as a students, to be sport athletes, probably not the goal, not the purpose, but I think to be physically active using moderate intensity activities, it's the best solution for staying healthy, and it will increase your not only working capacity but also your academic performance as well. So I think this is the best opportunity for you to stay healthy. The next positive outcome of physical activity is how the state of immune system reacts on this process. Epidemiological evidence suggests that moderate exercise has a beneficial effect on the human immune system. Studies have shown that people who follow a moderate energetic lifestyle benefit most from starting and sticking to an exercise program. A moderate program can consist of, for example, bicycling a few times a week, or taking daily 20 to 30 minutes walks, or going to the gym every other day, jogging, one of the best solutions, or playing sport games regularly. And again, moderate energetic lifestyle. You see, again, we have a scientific data that suggests that moderate intensity, it's the optimal zone for physical workload, for activities, and people actually could benefit the most from different programs. It could be weightlifting, it could be jogging, swimming, but universal approach in all these vast majority kinds of physical activities is moderate intensity, from 40% to 60% of your maximal oxygen uptake. Another way to measure this moderate intensity is your pulse or heart rate. If it's between 120 to 150 beats per minute, that means you are under moderate intensity workload. So stay in this range. If it's higher than 150 beats per minute, that means you are actually entering a danger zone, and you can actually damage or have a overtraining, and so please don't do this. People or actually athletes who are preparing to compete with their opponents in, for example, swimming or running, they have extremely high workloads, and heart rate could be higher than 150 or 180, but they are prepared for this kind of training, and they are attending clinics for observation their heart and other organs and organism systems. But for you as a general just students or ordinary students, or for me, it's not the point to have extremely high intensity training sessions. But the point for us is to stay healthy, and this is the main purpose. And having this purpose in focus, we just collect all the methods, all the exercises and conditions to facilitate all moderate intensity training. This is the best option. Immune system means a lot for us. Sometimes we are catching cold or getting chill, and probably we have a flu, we have a fever, and even if we are already sick, immune system plays a critical role, the most important role in this time, because immune system allow us to recover faster, or to being sick but with less negative symptoms. And in order to have a good immune system responsiveness for some pathogens or toxic substances, we need to have a regular physical exercising. It's very important. Of course, there are a lot of other factors like nutrition, ecology, sleeping habits, eating habits, how we manage everyday stress, physical or emotional, psychological stress, how are we able to organize our day, how can we manage the time, and so on. It all means a lot, but during this lecture I try to focus only on physical exercises, because this is the most important factor in physical education. Another positive outcome is a neurobiological effect. The neurobiological effects of physical exercise are numerous and involve a wide range of interrelated effects on brain structure, brain function, and cognition. The effects of exercise on cognition have important implications for improving academic performance in children and college students, improving adult productivity, preserving cognitive function in old age, preventing or even treating certain neurological disorders, and improving overall quality of life. Because this effect means a lot for our quality of life, because if our mental abilities are developed high enough, so we can comprehend the world that around us more wider, we can develop We can learn new technique. We can learn faster new knowledge. Uh, be more productive in our academic study. Demonstrate uh, uh, higher achievements in academic performance, and this actually will increase our overall productivity. So economically, even economically, in your professional life, this neurobiological effect could play the greatest role at all, because the more smart you are, the better job position you can get, with more salary and so on. So this is the very attractive positive outcome to pay attention to. But of course, healthy lifestyle and physical exercising, physical education, it's all linked together. And trying to exclude one factor, actually could ruin all the model, all the system. So you should consider this as a all or nothing. That means all the factors, all the effects, all the systems, you should know what's good for them, what's not, and try your best to stay healthy, with healthy nutrition, sleeping habits, time management, proper technique on when you are exercising. Know your best, how your organism works. It's actually a very difficult task, but it's not surprisingly that physical education lasts not a few years, but almost all the life itself, because we get knowledge, we try to learn how to stay healthy and so on. So this is an important neurobiological effect. Mechanisms regulating exercise-induced benefits on cardiovascular health is another topic that I would like to introduce for you. So, multiple mechanisms mediate the benefits of regular physical exercise on cardiovascular health. Next figure will demonstrate it to you. Exercise represents a major challenge to whole body homeostasis and provokes widespread changes in numerous cells, tissues, and organs in response to the increased metabolic demand, including adaptations to the cardiovascular system. Here on the figure we can see how exercise improves cardiovascular health by inducing changes in oxygen delivery, vasculature, peripheral tissues, and inflammation. So up there we can see the A algorithm. When exercise improves oxygen delivery throughout the body through promotion of vasodilatation and angiogenesis. And sequence B demonstrates how exercise increases mitochondrial biogenesis in adipocytes, skeletal muscle, myotubes, and cardiomyocytes. I believe you already know that mitochondria is a part of the cell that organized in the way that can produce energy in ATP, and the more it trained with the available oxygen, the more developed it could be in the way to produce more ATP. And ATP is the universal energy unit in our organism, and this ATP could be used not only when we are physically active, but also when we are sitting and reading, having some intellectual tasks too. So these processes could be beneficial not only in the movement field, but also in our um, central neural system activities too. And the sequence C demonstrates us how exercise causes a long-term anti-inflammatory effect. So, for example, myokines released from skeletal muscle during physical exercise partially mediate this anti-inflammatory effect and promote intertissue talk to mediate further cardiovascular benefits. It's not surprisingly that physical exercises mainly influence our cardiovascular system, because for movement we need energy, but for energy we need oxygen, and namely cardiovascular system together with respiratory system provide us with this so needed, so necessary stuff, oxygen, and also with ATP, glucose, and other energetic substrates. Also, blood circulation provide us with some metabolic substances that should be washed away, removed from skeletal muscle tissue, and some of them are quite toxic, like lactic acid. And if the lactic acid is accumulated in the muscle tissue with some high proportion, it could induce acidosis, and muscle tissue couldn't work properly. So, for example, explosive power could be reduced. Muscle inter and intra muscle coordination could be interfered severely when the lactic acid accumulated in a high proportion. And in order to prevent this situation or postpone it, cardiovascular system should be improved, developed. That's why swimmers, cross-country ski runners, just track and field runners, and so on, marathon runners, they develop their cardiovascular system in the way that it provides their muscles with enough oxygen, and also with the ability to remove metabolic reaction substances. It's also very beneficial outcome. Exercise improves mitochondrial biogenesis and function. Many of the benefits sustained by exercise are due to mitochondrial adaptations throughout the whole body. For example, exercise improves long-term cardiorespiratory fitness, called VO2, or volume of oxygen uptake, by increasing the mitochondrial content and desaturation of myoglobin in skeletal muscle tissue, improving the oxidative capacity of skeletal muscle. The increase of oxygen uptake and utilization by skeletal muscle, as indicated by arteriovenous oxygen difference, in response to regular exercise, is protective against a decrease in obesity-related arteriovenous oxygen difference, resulting in individuals to require more blood to receive the same amount of oxygen. Also, exercise increases the ability of mitochondria to oxidize fatty acids, the predominant substrate utilized in healthy myocardium, thus increasing the capacity for ATP synthesis. This exercise induced enhancements of mitochondrial function are important in preventing cardiovascular dysfunctions, often caused by obesity. This is the another health outcome of regular physical exercises, and it is especially important for people with overweight, with obesity, and this mechanism reflects not only in myocard, in the heart training, but also by in the cellular level, on how mitochondria adapt to this increased demand in ATP production. And due to when we are physically active, we actually enrich our body, our organism and cells with oxygen. It make best conditions for mitochondria to be developed. That's why it's so important to have a regular physical exercising, especially people with obesity. Training like aerobic fitness, cardio training, and other types of training, when the moderate intensity is provided, provide us with the best conditions for development of aerobic energy production. And aerobic means that oxygen utilized by our organism to produce energy. And best training methods for these processes is interval training or in continuous training, using continuous method. Continuous method requires at least 12 minutes with no pause, no breaks, no rests, performance of exercises. For example, it could be just walking, running, swimming, bicycling, and so on. At least 12 minutes. And 12 minutes, that means that we, for assurance that we are using aerobic energy system energy production predominantly. That's why we can observe very often people who like to perform jogging every morning, that they could spend an hour even more just performing jogging with no stops. This is the example of how their aerobic system is developed. And not surprisingly, a lot of physical activities called aerobics. Aerobics mean that oxygen is used, and all the physical workload and activities performed under enough oxygen supply conditions. Cardiovascular adaptations to exercise. Muscle tissue adapts to the demands placed upon it. On types of training produce the most significant adaptations in the muscles of the heart and blood vessels. Aerobic fitness, anaerobic fitness, and muscular endurance training place larger demands on the heart than any other type of training. Over time, these demands result in adaptations to the cardiovascular systems. And a little bit later on, I will go through the benefits that results of these adaptations. But firstly, we should try to define what the term adaptation means. And by adaptations, we mean that any process or organ or organism systems adjust for the demand in order to make the functioning of this system more stable. And muscle tissue, for example, adapts to the strength training by increasing the muscle fiber thickness or energy resources in the muscle or glycogen depot in the muscle. It all examples of adaptations. And adaptation, we should consider it as a main mechanism for increasing health and staying healthy, because different system in our organism reacts to physical activity workload differently, but the point is to adapt and to function stable. For example, if we are having walking or jogging half an hour with no stops, so we develop our aerobic fitness, and by this we mean that our cardiovascular and respiratory systems are under workload and are getting stimuli to trigger adaptation processes. And by this we should, if we have a specific knowledge, we can go a little bit further and to discuss and to try to analyze what's going on, what happens under this adaptation process. And we know, for example, aerobic fitness requires mitochondria development, requires more efficient myocard, heart working, more efficient and more elastic and more tone in the vessels on our organisms, and so on. Anaerobic fitness, the situation a little bit different, but we will discuss it on other lectures. Muscular endurance, of course, requires energy supply, energy resources, mitochondria development, and requires ability of blood circulation, cardiovascular system, provide metabolic substances, some of them are very toxic, like lactic acid, to remove them from the muscle tissue, not allow it to be accumulated in the muscle, because it could interfere in the some abilities of the muscle tissue. For example, explosive power in muscle, intra and intermuscular coordination could suffer a lot if the acidosis, or in other words lactic acid accumulation in a very high proportion, could be at the place. And now let's have a look on some physiological adaptation results when we are under physical exercises conditions on a regular basis. And first, of course, it's a heart size. Muscular walls of the heart increase in thickness, particularly in the left ventricle, providing a more powerful contraction. The left ventricle's internal dimensions increase as a result of increased ventricular filling. And both these outcomes needed for increasing heart efficiency, heart function efficiency. Stroke volume. The increase in size of the heart enables the left ventricle to stretch more and thus fill with more blood. The increase in muscle wall thickness also increases the contractility, resulting in increased stroke volume at rest and during exercise. Increase in blood supply to the body. Resting heart rate, as cardiac output at rest remains constant, the increase in stroke volume is accompanied by a corresponding decrease in heart rate. Cardiac output increases significantly during maximal exercise effort due to the increase in stroke volume. This results in greater oxygen supply, waste removal, and hence improved endurance performance. People with blood pressure in the normal ranges experience little change in blood pressure at rest or with exercise. However, hypertensive people find that their blood pressure reduces towards normal as they do more exercise. This is due to a reduction in total peripheral resistance within the artery and improved condition and elasticity of the smooth muscle in the blood vessel walls. This information requires knowledge from physiology, human physiology, and especially from heart anatomy and physiology, morphology, and I'm sure you are or you will be familiar with all these specifics and characteristics. But for now, I suppose that this just brief introduction of these positive outcomes, how physical exercises can improve their cardiovascular system functioning. It's high enough, these essentials. So this is it, this brief presentation of the main health outcomes of physical active lifestyle with regular use of physical exercises. And at the end of this lecture, you are supposed to complete control test, answer questions, and also these presentation material will be available for you in PDF format. So please just follow the link in the Moodle system and try to memorize the main data from this file. And I wait you will attend this lecture tomorrow, another topic. So 3 lessons left during this semester for you, and all of them will be finished with test questions. And of course, if you have questions or comments, you can just write a message to me. I check personal messages on a Moodle platform every day, so just try to do this if you want. And I wish you a good day, and try your best during this control test completion. So see you, bye bye.